Fall in, Polk County. This is today's veteran. Hello and welcome, and on behalf of the Polk County Office of Veteran Services, thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Kate West, and on this installment of today's veteran, we will chat with 3 seniors from the Florida Southern ROTC Battalion about their roles as cadet leaders and how their summer activities will influence their military careers after becoming commissioned officers in April. And later, we will hear from Ray Mollison and Oliver Lima during the War Story segment. Now stand by for your sit rep, Polk County, and prepare to copy. November is Military Family Appreciation Month. President Obama said that our nation owes the security and freedom that we enjoy to the members of our armed forces. And behind our brave servicemen and women are family members who share in their sacrifice. This annual proclamation marks the beginning of a month-long celebration of the military family, in which the Department of Defense and the country will honor the commitment and sacrifices made by the families of our nation's service members. A job fair for veterans and the community will be held on 7 November at the Polk State College Winter Haven campus. Veterans will be admitted at 10 a.m., an hour earlier than the general public, but all job seekers are invited to attend. Pre-registration is recommended and can be done online at polkworks.org. Remember to bring plenty of resumes and dress to impress. This year, Veterans Day is on Monday, 11 November. Several activities have been scheduled throughout the week to mark the occasion. The City of Lakeland will kick off celebrations on 9 November with a memorial ceremony at Veterans Park at 10 a.m. The annual Veterans Day Parade will step off from the Lakeland Center at 11 and conclude in Munn Park, where festivities will continue. The world-famous Little River Band is coming to Bartow on Sunday, 10 November. Presented by Frost, Vandenboom & Smith and the Sutton Law Firm, the tribute concert will be held at Mosaic Park next to the Bartow Civic Center. Proceeds will benefit the Wounded Warrior Fund and other Polk County charities. The first honor flight mission to depart from Polk County will do so on the morning of 12 November from the Lakeland Linder Airport. The community is invited to participate in the welcoming home ceremonies at 8 that evening. Polk County Veteran Service Officer Ernie Roberts and PGTV producer Brian Lacey will each chaperone a veteran on this trip. We will share those stories on a future episode. In the continuing story that we update you on every month concerning the VA Claims Initiative to reduce backlogs, here's an update. With the government shutdown behind us, the Department of Veterans Affairs resumed normal operations earlier this month. For 16 days, all regional offices were closed and public contact services were limited, but Secretary Eric Shinseki says that all November benefit checks will be paid on schedule. VA claims processors were unable to work during the shutdown, but now have resumed mandatory overtime needed to reduce the claims backlog. Overtime will continue until at least 16 November.
Hello and welcome to our show. We are always happy at today's veteran to welcome some of our future military leaders, and today we get a chance to sit down and speak with some what we used to call MS4s or seniors at Florida Southern College in the Cadet ROTC program. Today we have Kaci Fullerton, then we have the Cadet Battalion Commander, who is James Flores, and finally we have Stephanie Thacker.
Good morning, sir.
Morning. appreciate all you guys coming to see us. I know you're busy. You're working hard in school and learning the ropes in ROTC. We'll start with James. As the Cadet Battalion Commander, tell us a little bit about what your role is and what is it and how do you lead the other cadets at Florida Southern College?
Yes, sir. Well, part of my duties as the battalion commander are to look over all of the battalion operations. So I make sure that everything that needs to happen within the battalion happens, from training to physical training, the field training that we do, and I make sure that all of the cadets are taken care of, their mental well-being and physical well-being.
Okay. I mentioned earlier that I live by Florida Southern and I see the battalion out running early in the morning. Give me an idea of what a cadet at Florida Southern College's life is like on a day-to-day basis.
Roger, sir. Well, as a cadet, you're still a student, and so the primary focus for all of our cadets is going to be academics. So they still do everything that a normal student would do. They go to all of their classes and perform well there, but they also have to perform their duties with ROTC, which includes physical training every day. Early in the morning, we're some of the first people out there on campus. You know, you'll occasionally see some of the other athletic teams out there, but ROTC's out there first, and we're doing physical training. Cadets still have to go through all of their normal classes, and then in the evenings we also have field training where we go out in the woods and get dirty.
Where's the furthest, I don't know if that's really a word, but how far do you go on your field exercises? I know we used to go to Ocala, and we went to the National Forest and several times. How far have you been locally with Florida Southern ROTC?
What was the FTX that we went to?
We've been to with Lacucci Forest,
Yeah,
and
that's what it was.
we've also been to Jacksonville to Camp Landing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Oh
okay.
yeah, Camp Landing.
Camp Landing. Okay. I'm sure that was quite an experience.
Oh yeah.
James, tell us about your former military. You were an enlisted member of the military. Tell us how that experience led you to where you are now.
Roger, sir. Well, I had lots of guidance as an enlisted soldier. You know, I was my first duty position was a radio telephone operator, so I was very close with my platoon leader, and working with him and seeing the responsibility and the all the tasks that he had to accomplish, I gained profound respect for him, and I really wanted to emulate him, and I looked up to him a great deal. Now, throughout my career as an enlisted soldier, I began focusing on academics and moving myself in the direction of becoming an officer. And after applying and getting accepted to the Green to Gold program, I decided to come here to Lakeland to pursue my degree, my bachelor's degree, and hopefully commission here fairly soon as an officer in the Army.
Okay. What branch of the Army do you hope to be commissioned in?
I would like to be commissioned in the branch of military intelligence, sir.
Okay. And the mentor that you spoke of, that you were the RTO, was that a second lieutenant, first lieutenant?
It was a second lieutenant, sir. Obviously, after some time being with him, he did get promoted to first lieutenant and then to captain, and he ended up leaving our platoon. But I'll always remember that first great second lieutenant with that gold bar, and everything that he contributed to my life, my career, and now to my future.
It'll be quite an achievement for you, and I know you're going to do it. Stephanie, tell us about your summer. Tell us first about your leadership development and assessment that you did this summer.
LDAC. Well, we went to Fort Lewis in Washington State,
How do you get out there, first of all? Does everybody go on a plane, bus? I mean, how do you get out there?
Well, I mean, depending on where you live, yes, it's a flight. So
Okay.
I specifically came from Polk, so I was in Senegal, so I came from Fort Knox, and
Okay.
flew over to Washington on the 4th of July. Perfect day. So I went out there, and you know, it's kind of stressful in the beginning because you don't know anybody, and you know, you're there for training and you're there to be assessed, so that you know that you're being watched the entire time. But after a couple of days, you know, you get your phone taken away, and you start to get into the training, and you meet some really great people. And we had a lot of experiences, and I learned more there than I learned in a lot of places. So I mean, we went through, and they say it's kind of an assessment course, and yeah, you are being assessed, but at the same time, you're learning a lot. So over the course of the 30 days, I really learned more about the military in general, and I gained a lot of knowledge when it comes to, you know, the Army. So.
And as a female, were you integrated with guys? I mean, is that what it's like?
My platoon specifically had 9 females out of 45. So every squad had at least 2 females. One of them had 3. So yeah, it was integrated, but it didn't make a difference really. I really enjoyed being with everybody. So.
Give us an idea of from first thing in the morning until your head hit the pillow, if you had a pillow, in the evening, how that was. Just run us through a day.
Well, it specifically started the night before. So we would get our orders, and basically the squad leader for the next day, because it would be switched out every night, they would give us the brief. So we would figure out what's going on the next day, and we would wake up anywhere from 4 to 6 in the morning. Usually it was earlier than later, but we would get up, we would get together all of our stuff in a very quick manner, and we would get out into formation, and we'd start our activities. So it would really depend on what the day brought, but lights out was at 10 o'clock every night, so we would go from anywhere from 4 to 5 in the morning until 10 o'clock at night, and of course after, even the lights go out, but people still have things to do. So.
Mm-hmm. Kaci, tell us about your experience. Were you at the same place? Did you see each other at all?
No, she was in she went earlier than I did. She actually went 4 days earlier than I did.
Okay.
But her description is pretty accurate. I mean, you definitely get the information a day before, whether it be right or wrong, you get it. And you continue to work for it the entire next day. I mean, you still have all the things you have to take care of, and you have to take care of your platoon or whatever leadership position you're in while maintaining your assessment and your development. But I mean, all on top of that, you're still pulling fire guard too, so you don't really get too much sleep, but it's definitely an intense, like depending where you are. At the barracks it's nicer, when you're at the TTB it's okay, but I'm just glad it didn't rain on us, honestly. We got really lucky with that.
Really? Now, James, did you have to do that since you're former military, or?
Oh, absolutely, sir.
Did? Okay.
And I was eager to do so. It was a great training event because, like Cadet Thacker mentioned, it's not only that assessment, you know, or people might be nervous about getting graded and getting assessed on everything all throughout LDAC, but it's also an opportunity to meet all of these other great cadets from across the nation and integrate with them. Mm-hmm. And we get to, I've met so many intelligent cadets that were out there that it was just fun. It was fun to work with them. It was fun to put into action everything that we've done, everything that we've learned and trained on over the past, for them over the past 3 years, and actually use it. And not only do we get assessed on it, but they also help to develop us even more. You know, they teach us more than what we've learned at our colleges, and it was really good.
Yeah,
it helped us a lot.
Did what it was supposed to do.
Absolutely, sir.
When I was in summer camp, it rained almost every day. I can remember going out, and it was up in North Carolina, but you couldn't pull your foot out of the mud because it was so raining so much. And I don't believe they pulled us out when it was lightning either. Tell us about the other part of your summer, because I know you had some exciting things.
Are you referring to Culp, sir? So Thailand, my trip to Thailand, man, that was incredible. Basically, the military was able to send, well, we applied for it and we were accepted. We were sent over to Thailand for about, well, I was for 3 weeks, and I was sent to teach conversational English to the cadets they have in Thailand, which all the cadets that they have at the institution that we were teaching at are eventually going to go off to be really important leaders in the Thai military. So it was really a big privilege to be able to learn and actually teach these cadets. But it wasn't just English that we were teaching, it was culture, American military. But we were also able to go on trips like on the weekends, so we were able to do things like ride elephants. I got to pet leopards. The food was amazing. We got to hang out with some of the officers that we were working with to teach English at the institution, and they were just really interested in learning about us and our culture, and they're just really great people, especially in Thailand. People there are amazing.
Did you apply specifically to go to Thailand or just for the program?
No, I just applied for the program. I didn't put it, you can put a preference on there if you would like, but I was just along for the ride. I just wanted to go somewhere and experience something because I'd never been out of the country before. And I guess I got really lucky with Thailand because a lot of people who wanted it maybe didn't get it, but the people that I was working with, they were just all great kinds of people.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about your journey.
Well, just as Cadet Fullerton, I had never been out of the country, so it was an eye-opening experience. And I went to Senegal, Africa, specifically Dakar, so that's over on the westernmost coast of Africa, and it was right on the water, and it was just really incredible. Just coming down on the plane, even looking down into the town, was just eye-opening. And I got off of the plane, and that was the beginning of it. The airport was different, the people were different, everybody was right there, and they weren't. You know, they were very eccentric. They came right up to you. So, you know, we went there, and I specifically taught the Senegalese military. So we were at the military installation 5 days a week, and on the weekends sometimes we would teach at a local school or in other places to teach other adults. But we had enlisted and officers, and we specifically taught. I had a 23-year-old up to, I think, a 53-year-old. So it really kind of ranged, and they were all amazing people. And at first we were worried about, you know, being two females. We were two females teaching for men in Africa, and it was incredible. The discussions we had cultural discussions every single day, and they were just so willing to learn, and we were so willing to learn as well. And they spoke French over there and a native language called Wolof, and we got to take a class on Wolof, and that was just really interesting how they all used it. We actually got to, you know, see Senegal for what it was, and I was there for 23 days, and I met a lot of great people.
What did you wear? Did you wear a uniform?
We wore our ACUs, which is, you know, our camo, so. Yeah.
Okay, you the same?
I wore Class Bs, and so I was in pantyhose and the skirt, everything except for the jacket, walking through Thailand, which is actually very, very hot. So we'd have to walk up almost every day up to the mountain where our hotel was, and that was a pretty steep mountain. So it got really hot. It's really similar to Florida in climate, except a little hotter and humider.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, tell me, we're running short on time. Tell me what your cadet rank is. I see it. I think I remember what that used to be, but...
One PIP is a second lieutenant.
Okay. And what is your job in the cadet battalion?
I'm a battalion S2, which is a recruiting officer.
Okay. And that means, do you go out and try to get...
Well, I kind of host events to try and bring in cadets from the school. Like, I want to try and recruit from the school mainly, but also I work with like high schools and just kind of creating this environment to show people that ROTC is a really good opportunity and try to bring in more cadets to our program.
Okay. Tell me your rank.
This one's a sergeant rank. I'm supposed
Okay.
to technically have a second lieutenant rank, but, you know, we haven't switched them out at this point.
Okay.
I am a squad TAC, so each week I evaluate cadets on leadership positions. So our MS3s and some MS2s are put into positions like squad leaders or platoon leaders, platoon sergeants, and I evaluate them for their position for the week.
Okay. And he's the leader.
Boss.
Yeah.
Sir.
Okay. What is your goal? What branch of the Army is your goal?
I'm looking for military intelligence. I do want to go to grad school. I'm in the military. I understand how difficult that can be and as much of a time constraint as it is. But eventually my goal is just to go into human intelligence, 35 bucks.
And what is it you want to do?
Right now I'm currently competing for aviation, so I would like to go to flight school and fly helicopters.
Wow, that's great. Anything else you want to tell us while you have a camera here listening to you? James, we'll start with you.
I would like to let everyone know that some of the goals that we have for the Florida Southern Battalion are to really to bolster our numbers, to bring in a lot more cadets. And we're out looking for those, as Cadet Fullerton had said, we're out there for recruitment. And we want those high-quality, patriotic men and women to come into and join our unit. We have 2-year and 3-year scholarships that are out there.
Are you all on a scholarship?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And we're trying to get our name out in other ways, also in the school and the community. We do have an event coming up soon called the Tough Turkey. It's a 5K race. It's going to be around Lake Hollingsworth, and that is on the 23rd of November. If we have anybody that's out to run that wants to do a 5K.
Okay. Well, that concludes our program today. Again, another example of our future military and our leaders in life, and we're so proud of you and proud of your program at Florida Southern College.
My name is Mollison. I served 4 years in the military as a combat engineer for the Army. I did 2 deployments to Iraq. I served a total of 4 years. And the time that I was in, overall, was a good experience. But I remember one time when I was 18 years old, fresh out of basic, and just got done with my AIT program to be a combat engineer, and got stationed with my unit. A couple months later, President Bush comes on national TV talking about a troop surge. Of course, at the time, I was just a young kid, didn't know much about the military, and didn't know much about how fast it can move. 3 days later, I ended up getting orders saying, "You're going to Iraq, get ready." 5 days later, I'm on a bus heading up to North Carolina, and got there and we flew to Kuwait. And that experience in itself was a reality check for me, because then I realized that, you're in the real world now. It's, you're about to go into combat. Well, I ended up getting to Iraq, and I started working at the core building at Camp Victory. And I started working with all these sophisticated, smart people, colonels, generals, and all that, for about 2 months. And that experience itself was probably the best, because I really got to see an overall picture of what our military is like, about the strong men and women that are serving, and the opportunity to work with them. I will cherish forever. I remember an officer named Major Lucas. He was a spunky man, and he really taught me a lot when I was there, and taught me, the job's gonna suck at times, but at the end, it's what you make of it. And when I got done with my 16-month deployment, I looked back and I realized, I had the opportunity to serve with great men and women up in the core building, and also down at the line unit with my fellow combat engineers. And through our tough times, it got sticky, but at the end, we all came home safe. And that's what I loved about it, is that we all came home.
My name is Oliver Lima. I served in Afghanistan from 2009 to 2010 with Charlie Company, 2nd Battalion, 12th Infantry Regiment, 4th Brigade Combat Team, 4th Infantry Division. I served in the Pesh, Wadapur, and Korangal Valleys, and was there for about 11 months. Overall, our main objective while we were there was pretty much just force protection of our base and area patrol. We did a lot of patrols through the valleys, up the mountains, just to try and keep the population on the same page as us. It's really hard up in Kunar province to combat the efforts of the Taliban. The Taliban's really good at getting allegiance through people. They pay people very well. So what our unit tried to do was hire people to work on our bases. We had different combat outposts established, usually run by about, a company at each post, and we had locals come in and do work, on the base, and we paid them for it. We tried to do a lot of community outreach, building roads, building bridges, literal bridges, as well as community bridges, to try and bridge the gap between the Afghan Pashtun culture with the American culture. Overall, it was a really good experience. There were some rough days, but I served with a lot of great guys, some of whom I'm still very close with, and we're scattered across the country. But by and large, it was great. I mean, beautiful country up in the north, mountains, snow in the winter, hot in the summer. That part was no good, but it was a river. It didn't look anything like I expected it, and I'll never forget it. It was a great experience.
In this month in history, the armistice between the Allied and Central Powers was signed on 11 November 1918 in a railway car in France, silencing the guns and ending the actual fighting of World War I. The armistice took effect at 11 a.m., the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, which would later become known as Veterans Day. On 22 November 1963, President John F. Kennedy was shot and killed in Dallas, Texas. Later that day, Vice President Lyndon B. Johnson was sworn in as the United States' 36th president. Also this month, on 26 November 1789, the first American holiday was proclaimed by President George Washington as Thanksgiving, a day for prayer and public gratitude for the successful establishment of the new American Republic. That's all we have for this edition of Today's Veteran. You heard from 2 student veterans in the War Story segment, both of whom are currently attending the University of South Florida in Tampa. Next month, we will be joined in the studio by 2 of their classmates to learn more about the Student Veterans Association on campus. Remember, for help and information regarding claims, benefits, and services available to veterans and their families, call the Veteran Service Office or log on to the Polk County website.